All right, the New Zealand experience with Maori co-governance, quite analogous to what will likely happen here in Australia if the Voice proceeds. I think it's really instructive. Joining me now, Craig Greaves, a Wellington-based writer and former advisor to the US State Department, who wrote on this very topic last week in The Australian. Craig, thank you for your time. Give us an update on how New Zealand's pivot to all things Maori, so this is the language changes, customs, even the Maori caucus, the power of the Maori caucus, how is that changing New Zealand?
Well, good evening, Peter. So the Maori Voice has been a prominent part of the New Zealand identity for a number of years now, decades even, and it's been broadly accepted, honoured and understood. But what we have seen, I believe, over the course of the last 6 years, particularly since the Labor government retook the Treasury benches, is an acceleration of some Maori values in the practice of government. And this is represented in a number of ways. First and foremost is the increased use of Maori language in the practice of government, te reo. Te reo has been an official language since 1987, and there's been a somewhat of a revival across society, but particularly in government, we're now seeing that te reo, the Maori language, is being used alongside and sometimes supplanting English as the language of choice. English is still the transactional language of government, but we're seeing that development. Another development is a greater adherence to the principles of the founding document of New Zealand, the Treaty of Waitangi, signed in 1840. Those principles, particularly the one of partnership, is inherent in a lot of policy, a lot of legislation before the House. Another one is a greater emphasis on matters relating to Māori coming to the forefront of the political debate, not least of all enabled by a historically strong representation of Māori parliamentarians, particularly from the governing Labour Party present in the current Parliament. And lastly, I guess, is the growing prominence as a key element of political discourse, of the key organising principle, you could argue, of Māori political authority, and that's governance.
I'm going to come back and talk to you in detail about what's happening in relation to water and other things, but I think as a snapshot, that's pretty comprehensive and something to be concerned about here in Australia. Craig Greaves, thank you for your time.